Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a good morning. It is a cold, wintry morning here in Idaho, about 20 degrees right now. Nate Eaton here with Jordan Wood. Everybody wish Jordan a happy birthday. It was his birthday yesterday. How old did you turn, Jordan?
31.
31, so young. But it was cool. His wife came in the night before, late, into our office and filled his office with balloons and put a big banner over his door that said happy birthday. So anyway, Jordan is with me. We are headed up to the Fremont County Courthouse today. Should be an interesting morning in the Daybell case. For those of you just catching up, wanting to know what's supposed to happen, there's going to be several motions discussed before Judge Boyce today. Both Lori and Chad are expected to be in the courtroom together. This will be the second time that they've been in there together. Of course, their attorneys will be there, and there'll likely be a little bit of distance between them. But there's a couple of motions. One is Lori's attorneys, Jim and John, have filed a motion, Jim Archibald and John Thomas, to have Lori meet with Chad face-to-face or talk with him on the phone. They have only had one interaction on the phone since Chad was arrested back in 2020 in June. That was last year, and the attorneys were aware of it. The sheriff was aware of it, so was the prosecutor. Well, now Lori wants to meet with her husband more often, or at least in person and on the phone, to talk about strategy as the trial's coming up, to talk about potential settlement agreements. That's according to court documents. And the judge will hear that argument this morning. Now, prosecutors Rob Wood and Lindsay Blake have raised concerns. They haven't flat out opposed the idea. They haven't said no way, but they've raised concerns. One, they will not be in those meetings, and those meetings won't be recorded. And so that wasn't really one of their major concerns. The main one being, if you have an attorney, you have attorney-client privilege. So what you say to that attorney is attorney-client privilege. It can't be used against you. But you don't have attorney-client privilege for your spouse's attorney. So let's say they're in these meetings, and Lori says something in front of John Pryor, Chad's attorney. Well, Chad now becomes a witness. I mean, not Chad, John. John Pryor now becomes a witness, potentially. And as far as I understand it. So anyway, the prosecution isn't 100% on board with this idea, but it's an interesting motion, to say the least. I've spoken with a few family members of the victims. They don't like this idea at all. They don't think Chad and Lori should be meeting together. So that's going to be one issue discussed. Another issue they're going to talk about the death penalty. Jim Archibald and John Thomas have filed a motion saying Lori should be ineligible for the death penalty. And basically they're accusing the prosecution, or saying that the prosecution has not narrowly laid out their case as to why. We have sound issues.
Yeah.
Oh no. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up or something. Anyway, John Thomas and Jim Archibald have said that the prosecution has not narrowly been specific as to why Lori deserves the death penalty under the law and the Constitution. So they're asking the judge to take it off the table. Of course, the prosecution objects to that. And the prosecution said in court documents just the other day that the facts of the case are heinous, that Lori participated in the killings of her children, and that Lori was aware of it. So that will be discussed today. We also have the discussion about the sequestration of the jury. The prosecution wants to sequester the jury when the trial begins in April. Both defense attorneys are against that, Chad's team and Lori's team. They're saying, the trial's already been moved to Boise. And to sequester a jury for 8 to 10 weeks that's an unnecessary burden. So that will be discussed. And Chad's attorney has also filed a motion to continue the trial, meaning postpone it until April of 2024. One more year. We'll see what Boyce says about that. I know when the scheduling issues have come up in the past, how this trial has been pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. Boyce has expressed, I don't want to say frustration, but some concern over the fact that it keeps getting moved. And so that will be discussed. So I think those are the main issues. I don't think I forgot anything, but those will be discussed today. I'm going to be posting live updates as much as I can, probably on Twitter. I'll post some here too, but if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Nate News Now. I don't use Twitter a lot, but I'll probably use it today just for some updates. And then, of course, when the hearing's over, we'll be able to get the audio recording from the court. We'll file a records request to get that. We'll post the audio, and I'll have a full story when it's over. So that's the rundown of what's happening. Jordan, does anybody have any questions?
Let's see.
If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. The interesting thing I thought about this morning is that we'll have this hearing, and then I believe there's only 3 other hearings scheduled before the trial. So we'll have, I believe it's 2 in February and 1 in March. Now they can add a few more if they need to. And of course, if Chad and Lori decide to do a plea agreement, that changes everything. If the prosecution offers a plea agreement. But, yeah, we should only have 3 more court dates as of today before the trial begins. April 3rd in Boise, Ada County. Jury selection is expected to last 1 to 2 weeks. And then the actual trial will begin. A lot of people have said, do you really think it'll be the whole 10 weeks? Could be. I think that they've scheduled that out just in case so they have enough time. But it could. I've covered trials where it goes from, a scheduled 2 weeks down to 4 days because they get through the witnesses. Or I've covered trials where they have to extend because jury selection takes longer. So it just really depends. I know a lot of you have asked, will there be cameras? As of today, no. The judge has banned cameras from all court proceedings. We are exploring options as to see if maybe we ask him to reconsider come the trial, the actual trial in Boise. Again, speaking with some of the victims' families, they can't go to Boise for 10 weeks to watch this and be there in the courtroom. They've got jobs, they've got lives, and so they really want a live feed or some sort of system where they can watch and see what happens. So, yeah, we'll see if that comes out. But as of today, no cameras, and unfortunately there won't be cameras in the courtroom, but we have Jordan here who's going to be outside the courtroom. So when Chad and Lori leave, maybe they'll give you an interview, Jordan.
Yeah, hopefully.
What would you ask?
I don't know.
Okay, think of a question. I think we'd all be so caught off guard if they did agree to answer our questions. But speaking of questions, does anybody have any questions?
I haven't seen any.
Okay, no worries.
Some people want the Twitter handle again.
Nate News Now. And I would do it here on Facebook, but that's a lot of Facebook posts. At Nate News Now is where I'll be tweeting as much as I can. I'm going to be also writing the story, trying to pay attention, so I'll try to give you the updates. I actually missed, the only court hearing I missed in this case was last month in December. I was out of town, and that was the first time that Chad and Lori appeared together. But Caitlin Hart, my colleague, she went and covered it. She said that Chad and Lori didn't look at each other, except when Chad got up to leave. He left early with his attorney. They walked out. She did say that Lori turned around to see them leave, but from what she said, there was not a lot of, nonverbal communication between the two. So this morning should be interesting. She did say that Lori, I don't want to characterize her behavior, but she behaved fairly normal, fairly routine, pretty normal last time. So.
Is Chad and Lori going to be there today?
Yes.
Together.
Chad and Lori, well, they're supposed to be, and there's been an order from the judge that Lori needs to be transported from the Madison County Jail to the courthouse. So she'll be there. Chad's expected to be there. There's always a possibility that they could say, I don't want to go today, and let their attorneys represent them, but that has not happened once in this case. They have showed up to every single hearing. So I expect them both to be there. I expect them to be seated in the same area, maybe not at the same table, but their attorneys will be there. And of course, Lori has 2 attorneys. Chad has 1. So it'll be both defenses, and then Rob Wood and Lindsay Blake from the prosecutor's office Rachel Smith, I don't know if she'll be there. She's the prosecutor they brought in from Missouri, but it's possible she could be there to argue.
And is there any change with how Chad's kids view this?
I don't know. I'd love to talk with his kids. They have not come to any of the court hearings. Well, I take that back. They came to one right after Chad was arraigned, or right at Chad's arraignment, I believe. They came, they sat behind him, 3 of the kids. They wore masks the whole time. There was not a mask mandate in place at the time. I believe they were the only ones in the courthouse wearing masks. But yeah, so they came and supported him there and quickly left, but they have not been to any other hearing. From what I understand, they do communicate with him, and he has a limited list of people who are allowed to call in and talk with, and they're on that list. But I don't know if their feelings have changed or not. Any other questions?
Let's see.
We're about to exit. We're about to be there. So stay tuned for coverage this morning, and then again I'll post the update when the hearing comes to an end. And Jordan, I hope you're warm. I hope you stay warm outside. But we'll continue to cover this. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.